If you're thinking of getting a new job, you'll be working on your resume. But are you doing it right?
How are resumes screened, and how do you stand out from the crowd? And what do you do if you're thinking of a career change?
So Yen, a career coach, is going to read my resume for the first time. Will I pass the test?
So the overall look and feel of this document is pretty good. You have a clear summary, your contact information, including your social media. Your reader is going to be able to find you easily. You've also written very clear bullet points around your achievements, which is great. I'm seeing a lot of empty white spaces. So I think as a reader, I'll be forced to scroll down a little bit more. Shall we go through some of the tips and tricks to make it better?
The first change she made had to do with format. The simpler, the better.
I generally would not recommend a document, a resume document that has columns.
Okay.
And I know sometimes it's fashionable to have columns, but we want to have a design that is going to also work with the applicant tracking systems. So these are applicant AI tools, the platforms that filter candidates out. And I understand that sometimes when you have it in a column format, they're not smart enough to distinguish the information. So generally, I'd recommend a format that reads from left margin to right margin, just because most human eyes read left to right.
Yeah.
In addition, you don't have to squeeze all your information into one page. Content matters more than length. So as long as yours is relevant, clear, and engaging, several pages is still fine. Ensure each bullet point quantifies your achievements, not just your day-to-day work. Second, Yen zeroed in on what she calls a positioning statement. This is a summary that highlights your experience and responsibilities.
In reality, no one actually reads the resume. They kind of scan it.
Yeah.
And so your design has to pull the eyes towards the important bits. The most important part of the resume is the summary, because it's the positioning statement. When I say positioning statement, we're referring to answering the question why you should hire me.
The original version, Yen said, was too generic. It didn't highlight achievements at work. She suggested a 3-sentence format instead.
So the first sentence is your identity statement, and the second sentence is your background, and your third sentence can be about, key things that are required in the role, such as presentations, maybe pitching, maybe something with a strong commercial flavor that talks about partnerships or getting new content out to new platforms.
We ended up with this that highlights experience and achievements in journalism and communication, as well as personal strengths and skills. It's also important to tailor each resume to the role you want, not just the role you already have. This includes ensuring you highlight responsibilities and experience that would be relevant to your new job. Bring these to the top so they stand out.
So Yen, what happens if I want to apply for a more corporate role?
If you're going to pivot into something different, we look for leverage. So we're looking for transferable skills. We're looking for transferable experiences that would be relevant, that can be used as leverage, that supports your pitch. And so if you were looking for something more corporate, we again reorder some of those important sentences to highlight the fact that you've got the commercial acumen, the partnership experience, the revenue generating. Perhaps you've done specific projects that help increase, a new revenue stream or something. The biggest thing I want to share is that every time you apply for a job, every time you submit your resume, it's going to look different. Because this part here of the summary needs to position you for that role.
Yeah. Many people also use AI these days to write their resume. Is that a good idea?
I would highly recommend it if you feel like language is not your strong suit. Just watch out for making sure that the language is suitable and it fits your pitch.
Yeah.
So your positioning and the story that you're telling on your resume has to match the voice.
Yen also pointed out that not everything has to be on your resume. For instance, you can leave out your photograph, birth date, and other information not relevant to the role you're seeking. You can also remove endorsements, as these can be requested at a later stage. And especially if you're already a mid-career professional, leave out your educational qualifications and focus on upskilling instead.
Oh, and Yen, do we still need a cover letter in this day and age?
It is rarely relevant these days, although if you are young and you're applying for a job, your first few roles, and the job application states as a very, very important instruction, please submit resume and cover letter, then you follow the instruction.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, regular folk who are applying online or are submitting a resume through some sort of portal, it is rarely needed. And if you are submitting direct to a human person, you would probably write an email. And so the email would be your cover letter.
What do we do if we've been submitting resumes to multiple places but not making any headway?
I think the biggest thing is that it's not you, it's probably your positioning. So it could be the fact that you are applying for roles that you don't fit, or you're just lost in the volume. So if something's not working, change your strategy. And so the best strategy would be to identify the hiring leaders and trying to reach out to them directly, or to reach out to hiring leaders directly via someone who can be an introducer or someone who can refer you in.
After all that work, finally a resume in place that ticked all the right boxes. A simple format, a strong positioning statement, clear sentences that tailored experiences to the requirements of the job, and no irrelevant information that would take up unnecessary space.
I didn't realize that my resume needed that much work. But one of my key takeaways is the importance of having a good personal summary that's tailored to every job you apply for.